Should be happening at the weirdest time. Let me just tell you. I don't make the rules. The rules make themselves. Stuff has just gone from weird to weirder. I don't even know how to put it into words. First of all, people are just dying everywhere today, apparently. Can I just say that if I ever go missing for 5 or 6 days, y'all better damn call Sherlock Holmes and get the damn dogs out, because something has happened. I don't know how these social media, for lack of a better word, they're called influencers. Listen, I am nobody's role model, honey. If I influence you to do anything, it's to stay sober, stay in school, and listen to your parents. There you go. But these social media influencers be going missing, and they got family. That's the sad part. Like, I ain't even got nobody to report me missing. It would be different if I had somebody to report me missing. But there's social media influencers that just go missing that have family, and their family don't find that weird. Hello. Ugh. Listen, he ain't playing hide and go seek with your ass. If he's missing, he's missing. And how does he film every single day and you don't know that he's missing? Without saying anything? Where do you think he's been for 10 days? I don't understand. Like, I could understand if it was me and I went missing. Okay? I don't have anybody to report me missing. So, it would be a little different. But, like, still and yet, I feel like if I went missing for 5 or 6 days, you guys would be like, oh, where's this bitch at? Is she in jail? Did she relapse? Like, Anyways, there's a guy that went missing 10 days ago. They found his car today in the woods and his dead body. So sad. He was a TikTok influencer. It appears that he was going at a high rate of speed, veered off the road, went into some woodlands and hit a tree. Now that could be a secondary crime scene for all we know. It could be that somebody set it up to look like that. We don't know yet. We'll have to get his autopsy. But what is crazy to me is that he was missing for 10 days. He had, a social media following and family, and nobody thought that it was weird that he was missing for 10 days. If it was me, that would be understandable. Once again, I have no one to report me missing. It's a whole different story when we're talking about a guy that had a lot of family, lots of friends, huge social circle, good guy, wasn't into any nefarious things, and nobody reported him missing. For 10 days, he didn't make a live stream. For 10 days, he didn't make a short. For 10 days, he was not active on the internet whatsoever. And the whole time, apparently, his body was out in these damn woods and his vehicle. How sad. I just feel like if it were my son, the first night he didn't come home, I would have been screaming from rooftops at the damn police department to go look for my son. I'm just saying, have we completely, when you're a parent, you have a purpose. Like, you have a moral purpose, and I just don't understand why his family waited 10 days. 10 days. I don't understand why, we're about to pull up at this McDonald's. Y'all, shit just goes from weird to weird when I report on the news. Maybe God be trying to help me out, because wait till what I'm about to tell you. This shit is wild. So y'all remember, earlier in last week, I reported on a story where the whole police department resigned. The chief of police and 4 officers completely resigned, which was the entire police department, because it's only a town of like maybe 2,000 people. So it's a really small town in South Carolina, right next to Marlboro County, if I'm not mistaken, which is we about to talk about Marlboro County. I drove through there yesterday, which is so crazy that this popped up. Oh, God. Shit just be going weird. I really wish that I could pick the days that I tell the news, but God be like, girl, here's 20 stories. Like, seriously. I'm just like, whoa, what is going on? Everything that I've already reported on has updates. Listen, I don't get to pick it. It picks me. So the whole town, they resigned. The sheriff made a statement. The chief of police, this shirt's getting on my nerves. The chief of police, hey, Alva, how are you doing? Long time no see. Long time no see. I hope you're doing well. I hope your Thanksgiving was well. Okay, that's my computer. We can do that. So, I want to start from the beginning before I get facts wrong. People are dying now. So the whole police station resigns. Then people start dying. Listen, if y'all think that this is a coincidence, I can assure you that it's not. This is how small town bullshit works. So let me find the county. I think it was McCall. McCall. McColl. It's a small town in South Carolina consuming of like 2,000 people. It's so crazy. Okay. So the chief of police resigns, stating that he faced major harassment at work, a hostile work environment. He said that his department could not thrive because of politics. He said that there were certain councilmen that were in the city that were preventing him from doing his job, and he completely resigns from the sheriff's department. And when he resigned, all of his officers followed suit. They resigned. 2 days later, the mayor of this town is killed in a head-on collision, high-speed pursuit with Marlborough County deputies. Hold on. Y'all, this is so weird. Okay. So, the entire... What does the mayor have to do with the chief? Well, they're going to be working extensively together, Brooke. They're probably best friends. So, the chief of police and all of the officers resign from McColl County. It's McColl. It's a little town in South Carolina. For some reason, Marlborough County, which is like right next door, they were trying to pull over the mayor of this town after everybody resigned. And he was killed in a head-on collision yesterday. All right. Let me just read. McColl, McColl. Anyways, a few days ago, this small town on the state line between the Carolinas faced a mass departure of its police chief and officers. They resigned suddenly, citing harassment from the town council members and an overall lack of resources. Now, the Marlborough County of about 2,000, with its welcoming sign of small town big hearts, is left to deal with the sudden death of its mayor and grapple with what's next. George Garner's death on November 26, which occurred while law enforcement officers closely followed. So this was, first of all, I love how they're beating around the damn bush. I've read in 6 other reports that this was a high-speed pursuit. He veered into oncoming traffic and hit a tractor trailer head on. First of all, it has not been noted why they were even pursuing him. So many are confused after learning that the state law enforcement division has been investigating the mayor. Y'all, what is going on in this town? So around the 24th, all of the sheriffs, the chief of police and the sheriffs resigned. 2 days later, the mayor is being pursued by the Marlborough County Sheriff's Department in a high-speed pursuit, and he veers into oncoming traffic and hits a tractor trailer head-on, killing him. Now they're admitting that the state law enforcement division has been investigating the mayor. Well, were they also investigating the sheriff's department and the chief of police? What is going on in this town? This is crazy. No further details are available. Yeah, I'm sure not. This is crazy. So, Garner was driving westbound on Casual Ferry Road in Darlington County, veered into the eastbound lane and slammed into an oncoming 18-wheeler. He was the mayor of this town. Garner was being pursued by the Marlboro County Sheriff's deputies at the time. The pursuit was not related to any broken laws. Then why are you pursuing the man? Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all just wanted to have a casual talk? First of all, if it doesn't sound right, it's probably a lie. If it sounds like a lie, it's probably a lie. This story doesn't even make sense. We weren't pursuing him, but we were pursuing him. It says, quote, Garner was being pursued by the Marlboro County Sheriff's deputies at the time. The pursuit was not related to any broken laws. So, I'm confused. Even more, this isn't making sense. Why are you pursuing him? Y'all, if it doesn't make sense, it's probably a lie. Something was going on in this town, and they've already admitted that this mayor was under investigation by the state division. Or the state, state law enforcement division has been investigating the mayor. So this was him. His name was George Gardner. Y'all, this is crazy. So why, I'm just throwing it out there. How close are the mayor and the chief of police? I mean, they're going to be working directly with each other, right? I'm just wondering why this entire police department retired. What have these guys been up to? Because now I think the fact that he essentially committed suicide. He drove into a tractor trailer. What did he know and what have they been up to? Because it sounds like the law enforcement division has been investigating them. So something was going on in this town. I don't know what. We got the chief of police that quit. His deputies quit right behind him. And then 2 days later, the mayor drives into oncoming traffic into a Mack truck? What is going on? This shit is wild. You think that's weird? I have no answers. We're just... I have no answers to any of these questions. You know they don't tell us anything. The media is not the media anymore. Let's see here. So it says that the Marlboro County told the Post that they had spoken to Gardner's wife, April, and she became concerned for the mayor's well-being. That's why he was being followed. That's your story. This officer said, we felt like we needed to check on his safety. But you just said up top that y'all were already investigating him. So, which is it? Because maybe your story doesn't make sense and it's probably not true. It's weird, y'all. So weird. So it says, when the police force resigned a few days before Gardner's death, McCall residents were not necessarily shocked. The town has cycled through several police chiefs in recent years. Some residents were concerned about how the town would remain safe. I mean, you got the mayor over here, driving into Mack trucks. It doesn't seem like y'all are in a good place right now in general. Like... Sorry, they're just over here gaslighting the public. Everybody's safe. Everybody's going to be safe. That's what some sheriff said. Everybody's safe. I just want to make sure folks know that we're out here and they're going to be safe. As the mayor drives into a Mack truck. You sure about that? You sure about that? As the whole sheriff's department quits on the spot, they don't even have one sheriff to show up if something happens. So let's just say your house is getting broken into and somebody's robbing you with a gun. There's no sheriff to call, babe. There's nobody coming for you. Everybody resigned. Everybody resigned. And then the mayor offs himself driving into a Mack truck. Something was going on in this town, and they've already admitted that these people were under investigation for something well, the mayor at the very least, he was under investigation. So did he off himself because he knew or thought that they were going to arrest him for some crimes? We're going to have to, like, pay attention to this because this is crazy. Y'all think that's crazy? Just wait. All right. Y'all remember the father that was shot and killed the other day? Home invasion. The officer shows, okay, father calls 911. He's hiding in the closet with his 13-year-old daughter at the top of their house, 2-story house. Calls 911. He's like, yes, there's an intruder. They have a mask on, blah, 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 blah. Cops show up. At this point, the father and the masked intruder are fighting over a weapon, a knife. The officer tells them to put it down. Y'all, I'll show y'all because I have a video now. The body cam footage we have. He tells him to put it down. And for some reason, the officer just starts shooting and he killed the father. Instead, the half-naked man that looked like he lived in the house was the one shot in the scenario, not the masked intruder, which is crazy. But shit just got wilder today because that was not a woman. That was a man, first of all. My head is killing me. I got a migraine. So it happened in Vegas. I was about to say Vegas, but I didn't know for sure. So now it looks like we have the footage. So let's watch this because I haven't even seen this. What is going on? Listen, if y'all are being stupid, I'm just going to block. I don't even read comments because it's just, you know, too much. You're supposed to be grown adults. All right. Come on, man. Don't do this to me. Is it going to play? Oh, God. I have to touch it. What the frick? This is what I be talking about. Like, am I going to have to go to YouTube? Probably. Let me just go to YouTube, y'all. BBC ain't that damn anyways. We already knew that. So let me just start with the basis of the story. A 43-year-old man was fatally shot by police in Las Vegas after he called 911 asking for help. He was fighting an intruder in his home. His name was Brandon Durham. He and his 15-year-old daughter, who was hiding in a nearby room, have asked for the officer to be fired. The officer is actually on administrative leave with pay, per usual. This 15-year-old girl has since come out stating that this officer's actions were careless and that she's disgusted by the police station for killing her father. She is now an orphan because of this, and she's only 15. I don't understand. I'm going to find the body cam footage so you guys can see because it's very clear to me. This man who was half naked in his home trying to protect his daughter. It's very clear from the body cam footage who the perpetrator was and who the perpetrator wasn't. First of all, this is a motherfucking man. We're going to call it what it is. We don't care what it identifies as. We use logic and common sense over here. This man somehow had a previous relationship with this family. At some point, I don't know if him and the father was dating. There's more details that have come out. Listen, I'm going to let the news look because I don't remember. But first of all, this was a man. We thought it was a woman because they had on a pink ski mask. Brandon Durham. Body. Here it is. So it looks like...
wearing a black sweatshirt, dark sweatshirt.
Hey, they said they made entry. We got to go in there. Yeah, we have to go in. Hey, when we have a broken window, we're going to shoot entry. Metro, please! Metro, please! Hey, drop the knife! Drop the knife!
Oh my God. Y'all see how stupid this was? Do y'all see how...
The events happen very quickly. So from the first round fire to the last round fire, we're talking about 3 seconds or so.
First of all, let's go back and look. Hold on. I want to slow it down a little bit and pause it when he gets around the corner. All right, right here. Who do you think lives in this house, and who do you think the damn intruder is? The one with the pink ski mask or the half-naked man? Who do you think lives here full time? Do you think that the armed robber came naked? Here's your sign that you shouldn't have been law enforcement, that you were underqualified to be dealing with these types of situations. You know, going back to profiling, you have to assess scenes, whether you are out here getting gas every day or whether you are in law enforcement and it's your job. He did not assess that scene. He did not even think before he started firing. And matter of fact, you can even see the gun go to the right. He aimed at the half-naked man, not the intruder with the mask on. Listen, it's absolutely just crazy. It's crazy. I don't understand how these things happen and how these officers are put on administrative leave. It's very clear to me that he actually aimed at the father. And this is the perpetrator.
Tonight in the deadly police shooting of a local homeowner who called 911 to report a home invasion. The officer who ended up shooting and killing 43-year-old Brandon Durham also responded to the home about 24 hours earlier about the same suspect who broke in.
Okay, here's the timeline of what we know so far. This is late on November the 10th. Durham called 911 to report 31-year-old Alejandro Boudreau, a person that he knew was trespassing at his home and wouldn't leave. Police responded and say Boudreau left on her own volition before 1 in the morning.
On his own volition.
She returned to the house after midnight on November 12th, about 24 hours later. That's when Durham calls 911 for help, believing that Boudreau might try to kill him. During the police response, he was shot by the same officer who came to the house the day before. Body cam video showing Durham was struggling over a knife with Boudreau when he was shot and killed by that Metro officer.
Jesus.
News 3 also obtaining the mugshot for Boudreau, who has a criminal history in multiple states. And Kristen Drummond has been doing excellent reporting on this, bringing us more information. It gives us new insight into this case. She's here in the studio tonight with what she has uncovered now.
Well, Jim and Dana, these are Boudreau's, this is Boudreau's mugshot from one of at least 4 arrests in Florida between 2015 and 2017. He was taken into custody as well in Seattle in August of this year and accused of assault. We've also obtained records about that initial 911 trespass call the day before.
If you think...
And we did share with you last night that odd...
When I saw that, I said, where's she at? Where? That's a damn man if I ever saw one. Y'all better stop out here. Better stop. The shit just makes itself, let me tell you. You better stop. Listen. Nice try. Oh, God. And the news is calling it a she. Yo. I can't. I physically cannot lie to stuff like that. I can't lie to this person like that. I can't. That's a man if I ever saw one. And you can tell in the surveillance footage that he was actually a foot taller than the father. That's a big man. That ain't even no small man. Like, that ain't one of them little boy syndromes that decided to become a girl because he suffered from little man syndrome. You know what I mean? This is a grown-ass, damn 6 foot tall perpetrator with priors. With priors in several states. DV, checkered past with DV. Now, I'm wondering if these people had something going on. Because let me tell you, I don't know. There's no clear answers. It looks like that this guy was at the home 2 days in a row. The father had called the sheriff's department 2 days in a row. It looks like that the perpetrator was supposed to be taking a flight out of town, but at the last minute, someone called the airline and said, hey, he's using a fake credit card, suspend his ticket. So his ticket was suspended and he wasn't allowed to fly. At which time it looks like he came back to this man's home and broke back in through another window. A scuffle ensued. The father calls for help. The sheriff, this dumbass cop, shows up and fires right in the father's face. And then stands over him to unload his gun. Shit's wild. Absolutely wild. So we're going to be updating on that because that man is going to prison for good this time. They are pissed. He's under $1 million and he won't be able to make that. And I'm just assuming because he's out here taking flights on stolen credit cards. But what do I know? Maybe he'll make it. So the officer, Mr. Bookman, was put on administrative leave. I mean, if you want to hire me to teach them how to profile scenes, absolutely, I'll help. But, like, he didn't even think twice. Y'all saw the video. He straight just fired at the father. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And that's a man if I ever saw one. So you can call it whatever you want to, but to me, it's a man. It will forever be. Forever. Where'd that piece of paper go? Y'all. Oh! This is sad. There was a man killed. He was attacked viciously by 7 pit bulls this weekend. He was bit over 300 times. Y'all. But he wasn't the only one. I guess Thanksgiving week was just pit bull attacks all over the place. It's so crazy. The video is literally one of the saddest thing I've seen because he's laying on the ground next to all of his personal property. It looks to be like maybe he was displaced, homeless, because he has a lot of personal property on this bicycle. He's riding by, and you can see 2 pit bulls approach him. They apparently were all from the same owner. This sorry sack of you-know-what had 7 pit bulls in a fenced-in backyard. These pit bulls had dug out a hole. 2 of them had already gotten out of this fence line. They run up on him, at which time he falls off the bike. All of his personal property goes strewn around the ground. The pit bulls start, one is biting his arm, the other one is biting his leg, at which time 5 other pit bulls get out of that hole. They bit him over 300 times and he died. I just don't understand why the owners of these dogs have not been arrested. Oh, or were they? No, that's old. Is this it? Yes. Let's see if this has a video. If this doesn't have the video, there's security footage of it. I'll show it to you guys, but it's pretty heartbreaking. I'm trying to get my computer to work. It won't work. Let's see if I can find the damn... So it looks like it was Chris Culberson, and he was riding through his neighborhoods when 2 dogs started to attack him, and then, God, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with people, y'all? Let's see if I can... It sucks that it's in black and white. That what was so disturbing to me is that this man laid there for 23 minutes trying to fight these dogs. 23 minutes. Think about how long that is. There was a neighbor that tried to come to his aid and fight these dogs off. They were throwing stuff at these dogs, and these dogs after the neighbor. The neighbor had to flee and retreat back into their home and call 911. He died. Doing nothing wrong, minding his business. And like I said, as you can tell from the surveillance footage, it looks like he was potentially homeless or something. It's just so senseless. It really is. Let me see if they've charged somebody, because whoever the owner of those 7 pit bulls were needs to be in jail. 100%. This is all their fault. What's crazy is that his sister and him used to have pit bulls, and his sisters said that they had pit bulls for years. Rottweilers, American pit bulls. His sister, Angela Culberson, said the tearing and the pulling of blood and the biting that my brother went through was horrendous. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. He was 46, and he had just begun his 1-mile bike ride to get home from a friend's house on Saturday. He had a lot of stuff. Did y'all see all that stuff? Bro. He was attacked dogs. The police have received more than a dozen complaints about the dogs, but no action had been taken by the city's animal control service. For 23 minutes, he was attacked on the street, screaming for help. A neighbor come running out with a golf club, hoping to scare the dogs off, but they turned to her, and she received serious injuries. There were 2 additional pit bulls in the back of the yard who could not get out the fence. So we got 7 that is attacking him, dragging him through the yard, trying to kill him. And then we have 2 more trapped in a fence line. Who needs 9 pit bulls? They ought to go to jail on grounds of animal abuse for having all these pit bulls. I thought that there was a 3 law. I thought you could only have like 2 or 3 animals. Does that not exist anymore? Because it should. He received over 500 stitches. His cheeks and chin were ripped off. His heels and 1 toe were nearly torn off his feet. Had he not died November 6th, he would have needed to have his right hand, left leg amputated, live on dialysis, and have a tracheotomy for the rest of his life. So who wants to sign the petition to outlaw these damn dogs? Because this is just one of many cases every single day by pit bulls. Every single day. So sad. I mean, and he was minding his business. And because of these people, and I want to know their names. According to Angela, the KC Pet Project, a local no-kill animal in Kansas City animal control, responded to the scene along with authorities and put the dogs back in the owner's backyard. The next day, authorities returned with a warrant, but two of the dogs had vanished, including 15 puppies inside. So this was a puppy mill where they were breeding pit bulls. So when the authorities returned with a warrant the next day, all of those dogs were gone. Why are they not in jail for destroying evidence? Those dogs are part of a criminal investigation. So why are the owners not in jail for hindering an investigation and destruction of evidence? Those dogs are evidence. If that was me, I'd be in jail. Just know, if it was you, you would be in jail. You would be under the jail. Your face would be plastered all over the news. And you'd never have a normal career or life or future again over this. So about 4.5 million people are bitten by dogs every year in the United States. And around 30 to 50 of these escalate to a fatal attack every year. So common. There was another woman, she died this weekend, pit bull attack, her own dog. I think that was Missouri. Oh, it was Milwaukee. You know, I don't know why they don't talk about this. So back in July, there was a man that was arrested after his 7 dogs mauled a 71-year-old to death while he was walking to a neighborhood store. And a migraine from hell. I don't know why. Why the other... I have a feeling... I'm going to pay attention to that Chris Culberson story. I have a feeling that they'll arrest those owners. Well, they should. I don't know. It is damn one of them liberal cities, honey. You know how that goes. So it happened Monday. Her name is Geraldine Brady McGinnis, was killed by her own pit bull in Boston on Monday night. A friend of the victim described her as someone who loved animals. I mean, you know, she was mauled to death. Oh, no, that was back in October. Jesus Christ. Y'all, October 18th of 24 and then November 20th of 24. This woman was out of Boston, first of all. The little old lady, Geraldine Brady McGinnis. Come on, computer. Y'all got a migraine. Come on. I don't understand. My neck, my back, everything hurts but my crack. Seriously, body. Working out, it'll be worth it in the end. She was 73 years old. Okay, the pit bull's name was Buddha. Sorry, Ernie. Because he would go on to kill, murder, and Buddha. So it looks like it brutally attacked her, ripped off. The dog didn't attack her, though. It also attacked a husband of her best friend and 2 Boston police officers. All 4 were rushed to the hospital. Bro, that dog was off his meds. The dog was shot. Okay, they later confirmed the dog was shot. I mean, at this point, can we blame them? Neighbors told the media they were terrified of this dog. Listen, it's too early. It's just crazy. I'm an animal lover, but I've had some bad experiences with pit bulls. I understand their nature more than most. That's all. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Oh my God, y'all. This we talking about when shit goes down, nobody's going to be there to help you. This woman was literally getting mauled to death. 2 dogs in Asheville. This happened back in October. This was the Pickaway County village of Asheville, as there was neighbors that watched her and nobody helped her. She was screaming. Those around her watched her scream for help. A 73-year-old woman is out in the street being mauled by pit bulls. And she was gardening when 2 dogs broke from a home nearby and began attacking people. That poor woman. The sheriff's department is refusing to answer any questions. A county dispatcher and the on-duty officer authorized to answer questions but refuse. Of course they did. So this lady is out gardening when these 2 dogs, a pair of pit bulls, broke through the screen of a patio door. As she was crouched on the ground, weeding her front yard, she was mauled to death, while onlookers watched her be killed and heard her screaming for help. What a sad world we live in. What a sad, sad world. I mean, it's actually terrifying when you think about it. Think about being mauled to death by a pack of damn dogs and watching your neighbor get murdered and them not helping you. That's the world that we live in, where women get raped on the subway and on train stations and people just sit there while it's going down. Sick. And that's a real story, by the way. It's happened lots of times. Women getting assaulted on the damn... What's the one in New York? What's that lightning thing in New York? Y'all, I don't know. Is it the subway? Did I say it right the first time? The subway? I don't know. My mother used to put a penny. Does it work? Penny work? What does a penny do? Does it work? Subway. Okay, I had it right. What does the penny do? Will that bring me money? Y'all, this shit's crazy. Oh, there was another FBI agent that was charged with, take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. SF. He's done assaulted 2 women. He was arrested yesterday. He worked for the FBI. And come to find out, he was out here assaulting women. I want to know what the hell is going on in South Carolina for real. What is going down there? Something, I'm telling y'all, something's going on. When you got the mayor driving into oncoming traffic right into a Mack truck to often, and the whole police department resigns, including the chief of police, something is going on. Something is going on. the war in Russia and freaking... Y'all, I don't understand these countries. It makes my head hurt. Syrian rebels sweep into Russia, conduct strikes in support of Assad. So it should conduct strikes in support of Syrian army. Y'all hear my belly growling? A spokesperson for the U.S. State Department said earlier that the United States was monitoring the situation. Yeah, right. Monitoring it from where? Hawaii? On the beach? Cut me a break. I can assure you the last thing this section is doing is monitoring anything. Monitoring their damn bags of coke. Monitoring their damn boxes of wine and Klonopins. Bunch of drug addicts and pedophiles. Let's see what happened at Mar-a-Lago. So it says that Trudeau travels to Florida to meet with Trump at Mar-a-Lago after speaking against tariffs, whatever the fuck, taxes. They called it a very productive meeting. It came in the wake of Trump's threat to impose taxes on goods coming from Canada. Telling me nothing. Why do y'all even report this shit? Like, y'all literally don't say shit. A whole article on nothing. They ate dinner together. That's what the article is about, that they ate dinner together and had excellent conversation. They would not elaborate further. Then why even write the damn article? Call me crazy. I just think that, you know, there needs to be something important. Y'all, my head hurts so bad. Hear my stomach? Well, let's talk about the FBI guy. Let's see who that was. Yeah. They're looking for additional victims. So it looks like he was part of this fake modeling thing. I've talked to you guys about that before. God, my stomach. Y'all hear my stomach growling? Look. Ugh. So it says he was arrested in Maryland. If this don't let me freaking read an article, I'm going to scream. I'm so sick of the media, y'all. You click on an article, it's a fucking video. You watch the video, they don't tell you shit. It's like, why? Just why? I wish I had the money to fly all over this country, report on this shit. I really do. Because I do a 10 times better job than these assholes. Vidalva is his last name, by the way. I had to go look into that so I could say it right. Vidalva. Jesus, Brooke. And it looks like he's already been charged with several counts of R-word and assault involving... He was arrested Monday on SA charges. Ooh, my head. Whoa, the plot just thickened. What the hell? Y'all, sometimes God just be giving me like these little breadcrumbs that are just amazing. So apparently this FBI agent who was charged with R-word and SA, after a 2-year investigation and trial, he was acquitted of shooting someone. So it says an FBI special agent is facing charges of R-word and assault involving 2 women in Maryland. This was 2 years after a state jury acquitted him after he shot and wounded a passenger on a Washington, D.C. area metro train. Why are we opening fire in public places where civilians could be hit? Do they not have any kind of training? I'm just saying, I just don't feel like that's the place where you should be opening fire. Okay? I mean, I don't know the circumstances. I'm just saying, maybe there's a reason he was on trial. Maybe he shouldn't have been acquitted. He's 40 years old. He looks like a prick. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me he doesn't look like Officer Douchebag. He looks like the type. Faces 10 felony and misdemeanor charges, including second-degree R-word, second-degree assault. He was the assistant chief of police. Oh, no. The chief of police said, told this information. See, this is what I'm saying. They need to stop writing shit the way they do. Vidalia, he contacted the victims, 2 women in their 20s, via an Instagram page, different names, and invited them to a tattoo parlor where he offered them tattoos and to help them get modeling gigs. Listen, y'all. I don't know why you would think a police officer can help you get a modeling gig, but you've got to be smarter than this. Please, I'm begging you. It says that the women did not know he was an FBI agent. He looks like a mobster, so I'm surprised that he was an FBI agent because he looks like a mobster, especially in uniform. Y'all should see his uniform pic. He looks like trouble. He looks like trouble. So he was arrested Monday on SA charges. He remains in custody without bond following a bail hearing this coming Tuesday, which a judge noted that was this past Tuesday. They said he was a flight risk and a danger to the community. You think? He's done R-worded how many women? So these charges come nearly 2 years after a Maryland jury found him not guilty of attempted murder and other related charges after he shot and wounded a passenger on a D.C. area metro train in December of 2020. In the latest case, he met one of the victims at a tattoo studio near where he lived. He leased the space where the tattoo shop was located, adding no tattoo license is registered to that location. One of the women was offered a free tattoo in exchange to model the artwork. After the tattoo was complete, he offered to help the victim get work as a model. The woman later received an email offering the opportunity to do a test photo shoot and return to the tattoo studio on a different date. During the photo shoot, she was presented with a modeling contract and then SA'd by him. The victim was coerced and threatened with legal action if she did not return to comply with the contract. She had to meet with him 2 weeks later for a modeling shoot at a local hotel where she was SA'd a second time. The second victim met him in a similar way. In the same scenario, the woman received a tattoo before being offered a photo shoot opportunity and then a contract to sign. Listen, ladies, the amount of time when I was in my 20s, they used to stop me in the mall parking lot and they'd be like, oh, if you ever modeled before, y'all, keep it moving, girl. Don't be talking to these losers out here because this is the type of loser that is trying to get you to come to a modeling shoot. This is crazy. I can't believe either one of these women dealt with him in this manner. First of all, I understand how tattoos work. I understand that there are tattoo artists that will give you free work so that you advertise on your page about their work to bring them more business. But don't be doing that. Pay for your work up front, and don't be doing no damn deals like this, because this is what this could lead to. Detectives from a special victim investigation division believe that there may be additional victims. Yeah, I'm sure. This is not, he literally, think about the scenario. He rented a space just to assault these women. He rented a space. He had no license to perform tattoos. Rented this space with the intention of harming women. Yeah, he's done this before. He's probably been doing it 10 to 15 years, in my opinion. In my best, he's 40. He's probably been doing this 10 to 15 years, in my opinion. It probably started with voyeurism. It probably started from watching women and then it probably progressed to stalking women. And then he probably got the bright idea that he could just set women up and do what he wanted. This is not his first rodeo. He's probably assaulted many, many women. And many that probably knew he was a FBI agent and was scared to say anything. Both women were 21 years of age, so significantly younger than him. He's been suspended from the FBI police investigation. Probably getting paid. He deserved that. So it says, the investigation into the Metro Transit Police said the video footage of the incident showed an adult male approaching the officer as a car neared a medical station in Maryland. Words were exchanged, and then he discharged his weapon several times into the car. And y'all acquitted him? See, if y'all wouldn't have acquitted his ass and locked him up where he belonged, in jail, he wouldn't have been out here on the streets renting tattoo parlors as a guise to R-word women. Absolutely just unfreaking believable, y'all. All of it. It's just crazy, ain't it? And the whole time they sit there like, we didn't know. We know he was kind of a stalker, but we didn't know. So many people got in damn shootouts with the cops this weekend, Thanksgiving. I guess people are stressed out. I saw one father that killed the whole family. He just murdered everybody. I'm like, damn. I think it was Missouri. It might have been Maryland. I don't know. Damn. It's the damn Charlie Lawson of Missouri. You know what I mean? Like, y'all know about Charlie Lawson, right? He killed the whole family on Christmas. That was in kind of a classic case. It's the largest mass, like, family murder, ever. And it happened right before Christmas. I should tell y'all that story one day. It's actually really good. But, I mean, it's creepy. It's crazy. I've been to the grave sites and stuff. You can't get back there anymore, but it's on private property now, where the whole family is buried. Jesus Christ. That article wouldn't come up. It's like, I was wrong. It was 5 people were killed within 48 hours of Charlotte. So 5 people were killed within 48 hours in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I saw, yes. I saw this past weekend that there were more. There was like 5 or 6 shootings over the week, and now I can't find it. What is wrong with Google? Why does it show me Google articles, and then I go to my computer to find those Google articles, and it just disappears? Don't make no sense. And that was back in June when that happened, with the 5 people shot in 48 hours. Y'all can go out there and damn have a good time if you want to. You won't catch me out there. I already know what it is. What? 1 found dead. This was 5 days ago out of Greensboro. They found a dead body on an embankment. 5 days ago. What day was that? What's today? The 30th? Yes. So that would have been the 25th. What day was that? Brooke. Girl. What day? Listen. We're going to see what the article says. They are saying that it's a homicide investigation. You think? What gave that away? You think they just damn off themselves in a ditch? I don't understand. So the body was found off of Yanceyville Road near Kingfisher Trail. Officers found a dead male on the side of the road of an embankment. He had an injury consistent with a gunshot wound. Somebody done shot him in the car and pushed his damn body out on the road. They haven't been able to determine his identity. Why not? They don't know who this is. They don't know who killed him. And that's it. That's our news. That's the news nowadays. This was updated on the 26th, so he did die on the 20th. Well, that's when his body was found, and I don't think that it was like, I don't know. That's crazy. Poor guy. So the murder of the Lawson family is a case of familicide, if I hope I'm saying that right, which took place on December 25th of 1929 in Germantown, North Carolina. He was a sharecropper, and he was known as Charlie, but his name was Charles Davis Lawson. He murdered his wife and 6 of his 7 children. They still to this day do not know why he did this, but something that I found interesting about the case, that Charlie actually had a severe head injury. And we see, with a lot of severe head injuries, that these men and women go off the rails and commit horrendous acts of violence. Whether or not it had anything to do with his head injury, we'll never know. But, you know, he married Fanny back in 1911, and they had 8 children together, supposedly. Hold on to that thought. So they had an eldest son who would be the only surviving member of the family, and years later, if I'm not mistaken, he was killed in a head-on collision, which is really sad, and I could be wrong about that. It was either a head-on collision. It was a head-on collision. So their eldest son and their eldest daughter, who was around 17 and 6 at the time. Let me show y'all this picture, because this picture is eerie. First of all, this man was already in debt. Like, he was in debt big time. They were not rich people. They had a ton of children, and they were living through the Depression. So things were not the best, you know. Well, the Depression was about, wasn't the Depression 1909 to like 1930? Y'all. When was the Depression era? 1929 to 1941. So it was about to be the Depression. And they would have been feeling the recession, honey. Okay? It would have been rough. It would be rough. So Charlie and his oldest son, eldest daughter, Charlie's wife. First of all, look at this woman. Do you think that she was still of childbearing age? Because that's supposedly her 1-year-old daughter that she's holding. This was the last family photo. Charlie told the whole family to get dressed, put on their Sunday's best, that they were riding into town to get a picture. And the following day, he would murder the whole family. So it started, let me just read this story. So in 1929, so this was the Depression. It had just started. Oh, it had just started, literally. 1929. This may have some explanation, but there's other people that think that Charlie was a pervert. So we'll get into that in a minute. And actually, the family, the surviving family of the Lawsons, have tried and tried these bodies exhumed so that they could do DNA testing to see if that 1-year-old was made out of incest. So in 1929, days prior to Christmas, Lawson, who was 43, took Fanny's wife, 37. God, she was a rough 37, honey. That's my age. I look nothing like that. That's wild. Listen, these was farm times, honey, okay? These people had it rough. So he took Fanny, their 7 children, Arthur, who was 19, Marie, who was 17. Then the other siblings, I don't want to go into them because it'll be confusing. But just remember that Marie was 17 and the eldest son was 19, who would be the only surviving relative of family after Charlie was done. He took him into town to buy new clothes and to have a family portrait taken. This would have been unusual at the time for a working rural family of the era, which has led to speculations that Lawson's act was premeditated. So it was speculated that he had impregnated his daughter, Marie, 7. This has never been verified. Ever. But they could verify it if they exhumed the bodies, because Marie was buried, Annie, the wife, was buried with the baby. The baby can be tested with me because Marie's body is buried next to her mother. This whole family is buried together. On private land now. You used to walk over there and see these grave sites, but you can't anymore. On the afternoon of December 25th, Lawson first shot his daughters, Carrie and Maybelle, as they were setting out to their uncle and aunt's house. He waited for them by the tobacco barn until they were in range and shot them with a 12-gauge shotgun. Then, to ensure that they were dead, he started bludgeoning them to death. He placed the bodies in the tobacco barn. This is when he turns on his wife and starts shooting Fanny, who was on the porch. As soon as the gun was fired, Marie, who was still inside, screamed, while the 2 small, James and Raymond, attempted to find hiding places from their father. Lawson then shot Marie, the eldest daughter. He then found and killed the 2 little boys. Lastly, he killed the baby, Mary Lou. It is thought that she was bludgeoned to death. How do you not know? That's pretty... This is what I'd be talking about. If she was bludgeoned to death, we'd be able to tell. If she was shot, we'd be able to tell. How do you not know? These are mistakes we can't be making out here. After the murders, he went to the nearby woods for several hours where he holed up, and then he shot himself. The only survivor was his eldest son, 19-year-old Arthur, whom he had sent on an errand into town. I think it was to buy more shotgun shells because they were turkey hunting or damn deer hunting the day before Christmas. And Charlie said, we're out of shotgun shells, so run into town and get us some more shotgun shells. This poor boy comes back, and his whole family has been murdered by the father. And the father is holed up in the woods. The neighbors heard the gunshot, so they sent the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department's trying to get Charlie to come out the woods, at which time he shot and killed himself. The bodies of all of the family members were found with their arms crossed and rocks under their heads. So when they found Charlie's body, they actually found footprints like encircled around a tree. It was supposed that he had been pacing around the tree prior to taking his own life. Listen, here's the thing. If those bodies were exhumed and we found out that Charlie was not a pervert and that wasn't his 1-year-old daughter and his daughter wasn't pregnant again, because that was the rumors. The rumors were is that he got re-pregnant. That was the 1-year-old daughter in the picture, that was actually a daughter and father's offspring. The rumor was that she was also pregnant again. If we could exhume her body, we could find out A, if she was actually pregnant again, and B, we could do a DNA test. Now, that is all rumored pregnancy. And it was published in 1990. This book called White Christmas, Bloody Christmas there was claims in the book that Charlie was SAing his daughter. Hold up, I didn't even know this. The day before the book was to be published, the author received a phone from Stella Lawson, a relative who had already been interviewed for the book. Stella said that overheard Fanny's sister-in-laws and aunts, including Stella's mother, Janie Lawson, discussing how Fanny, the wife of Charlie, how Fanny had confided in them that she had been concerned about an incestuous relationship between Charlie and Marie. Janie Lawson, who was like a sister-in-law, aunt, died in 1928, meaning Fanny had been suspicious of incest that long before the murders in late 1929. What? I didn't know there was any validity to shit. He was a pervert. More for this theory was revealed in a different book published by the same author in 2006. A close friend of Marie Lawson's, Ella May, came forward. These fucking names, eh? Get out yonder and milk them cows. Came forward with disclosed that a few weeks before Christmas of 29, Marie confided in her that she was pregnant by her own father and that both he and Fanny knew about this. Listen, now this is all hearsay, okay, first of all, but let me tell you something. People hold on to secrets to the last minute, man. They do. This woman, Ella May, would have been living back in 1929. She finally disclosed this information in 2006. Sounds like maybe she had a conscience. Another close friend of her to the Lawsons, Hill Hampton, stated that he knew of serious problems going on within the family, but declined to elaborate. No, Hill, Mr. Hampton, we're going to need you to speak up. You see something, say something. Months before the event, Lawson has sustained a head injury. Some family and friends theorize that this had been the catalyst to alter his mental state, and it was related to the massacre, his head injury. However, an autopsy and analysis of his brain at Johns Hopkins Hospital found no abnormalities. No abnormalities. You know, the name of the road where he committed this murder is called Brooke Cove Road. It's a tourist attraction. I mean, you can't go to that area anymore. Like I said, it's on private property. Yo, they need to damn dig up them bodies. Dude, they need to dig up the bodies. I want to know. I think Charlie was a pervert. This happened December 25th, will be 9 years ago. So sad. You know, I mean, here's one of two things. He either A, was a pervert and knew that his cover was about to be blown because this girl was yet again pregnant. And there's no way that Miss Fanny over here, you know, can keep popping out these children the older she gets. Mama can't play mama so long, you know. Or B, the depression him over the edge and he was worried. Because, you know, these were sharecroppers. He didn't make much. He worked for years just to be able to save up enough money to buy this farm on Brooke Road. So these were not rich people. These were very poor people that were barely scraping by. He buys this property in 1927, and then 2 years later, the Great Depression hits. So either he was a pervert or he was super stressed and lost his damn mind and murdered his whole family. One or the two. I mean, we see this happen all the time. The stresses of everyday life, people just trying to keep up with Joneses, they end up killing their whole family. I guess they go off the deep end and they think that death is better than living in this hellhole. I don't know. It's sad, but it happens every day. There was a father that just done that over Thanksgiving, you know, and he murdered the whole family. So sad. Y'all, it is so cold. I don't know what I'm going to do. This shit's got me stressed out. You know, financially, I can't afford to be in the color. Plain and simple, I can't afford this shit. Then what happened before? My mom said that she lived during the Great Depression. I thought that was the early 1800s, but it's not. It was in 1929. I don't know why I thought it was like the early 1900s that the Great Depression happened. It was from 1929 to 1939. The period was characterized by high rate employment, poverty, drastic reductions in liquidity, industrial production and trade, and the widespread bank and business failures around the world. Sounds like 2008. Damn, it lasts for 10 years. That's so sad. Listen, I can't keep up with all these different days. We got Blackout Wednesday, Blackout Thursday, Black Friday. I can't. It's too many blackout dates. Listen. So it says the Great Depression was the worst economic crisis in modern history, lasting from 1929 until the beginning of World War II in 1939. The causes of the Depression included slowing consumer demand, mounting consumer debt, decreased industrial production, and the rapid and reckless expansion of the U.S. stock market. When the stock market crashed in October of 29, it triggered a crisis in the international economy, which was linked via the gold standard. A rush of bank failures followed in 1930 as the Dust Bowl increased the number of farm foreclosures. Unemployment topped 20% by 1933. I'm reading current. All of our farmers are going in debt, you know, like people are going into foreclosure. California's new homes are up 41% foreclosures right now. It sounds like now. Are you sure this was the 30s? Oh, God. So unemployment topped 20%. Under President Hoover and Franklin D. Roosevelt tried to stimulate the economy with a new range of incentives, including Roosevelt's deal program. Ultimately, it took manufacture and production increase of World War II to end the Great Depression. Yeah, that's what I thought. Why did I think it was the 1909 that the depression started? It's 1929, Brooke. You were close. You were off freaking 20 years. Through the 1920s, the U.S. economy expanded rapidly, and the nation's total wealth more than doubled between 1920 and 1929, a period dubbed the Roaring Twenties. Then how did the stock market, centered in New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street in New York City, was the scene of the reckless speculation where everyone from millionaire tycoons to cooks and janitors poured their savings into stocks. As a result, the stock market underwent rapid expansion, reaching its peak in all of 1929. By then, though, production had already declined and unemployment had risen, leaving stock prices much higher than their actual value. Additionally, wages at the time were low, consumer debt was proliferating, and the agricultural sector of the economy was struggling due to drought and falling prices, and banks had excessive large loans that could not be liquidated. Are we sure this isn't right now? The American economy entered a mild recession during the summer of 1929 as consumer spending slowed and unsold goods began to pile up, which in turn slowed factory production. Nonetheless, stock prices continued to rise, and by the fall of that year had reached stratospheric levels. Listen, you know what I mean. High-ass levels that could not be justified by expended future earnings. Oh, God. On October 24th of 1929, as nervous investors began selling overpriced shares in masses, the stock market crashed. A lot had feared that this would happen at last. A record 12.9 million shares were traded that day, known as Black Thursday. We got Blackout Wednesday, Black Thursday, Black Friday. Jesus, I can't keep up. I'm going to have to get me a damn Sharpie and start writing these days. 5 days later, Black Tuesday. Here we go. 5 days later, on October 29th, or Black Tuesday, some 16 million shares were traded. After another wave of panic swept Wall Street, millions of shares ended up worthless, and those investors who had bought stocks on the margin with borrowed money were wiped out completely. As consumer confidence vanished in the wake of the stock market crash, the downturn in spending and investment led factories and other businesses to slow down production and began firing their workers, laying people off. Oh my God, it sounds so familiar. For those who were lucky enough to remain employed, wages fell and buying power decreased. Many Americans forced to buy on credit fell into debt. Not half of Americans financing their lifestyle on fucking credit cards. God, this is so familiar. Should be crazy, don't it? Should be crazy. All I know is I'm not messing with the stock market. I don't have the money to play the games. That's out of my tax bracket. You know what I mean? Many Americans were forced to buy on credit and fell into debt. The number of foreclosures and repossessions climbed steadily. The global adherence to the gold standard, which joins countries around the world in fixed currency exchange, helped spread economic woes from the United States throughout the world, especially in Europe. Despite assurances from the president, Hoover, and other leaders that the crisis would run its course, matters continued to get worse over the next 3 years. By 1930, 4 million Americans looking for work could not find it. And that number had risen to 6 million by 1931. Meanwhile, the country's industrial production had dropped by half. Bread lines, soup kitchen, and rising numbers of homeless people become more and more common in the American towns and cities. Farmers couldn't afford to harvest their crops and were forced to leave them rotting in fields while people are starved. So one part of the city that can't even damn harvest their crops while the rest of the city is starving across. It's crazy. I mean, they were standing in line, y'all, for porridge type of shit. Like, you bring your own bowl, you stand in line for 5 hours to get a scoop of porridge type shit. How sad. We're not far from it. 4 more years of these ticks, and we would have been right here, okay? Standing in line, soup kitchen for bread. Farmers couldn't afford to harvest their crops and were forced to leave them rotting in the fields while people elsewhere starved. In 1930, severe droughts in the southern plains brought high winds and dust from Texas to Nebraska, killing people, livestock, and crops. The Dust Bowl, inspired by mass migration of people from farmland to cities in search of work. In the fall of 1930, the first 4 waves of banking panics began as numbers of investors lost confidence in their banks and demanded deposits in cash, forcing banks to liquidate loans in order to supplement their insufficient cash reserves on hand. Bank runs swept the United States again in the spring and fall of 1931 and the fall of 1932, and by early 1933, thousands of banks had closed their doors. Y'all sure you sure this happened in 1932? In the face of this dire situation, Hoover's administration tried supporting failing banks and other institutions with government loans. The idea was that banks in turn would loan to businesses, which would be able to hire back their employees. Oh, Lord. Hoover, a Republican who had formerly served in the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, believed that the government should not directly intervene in the economy and that it did not have the responsibility to create jobs or provide economic relief for its citizens. Hold up, wait a minute. Were y'all getting taxes back then? Hold up, wait a minute. What you mean? I mean, I agree with the whole government needs to mind their business. They don't need to be intervening in people's lives. But in my opinion, it's the responsibility of the government to create jobs and, in some manner, provide economic relief for its citizens, especially in the middle of a depression. Maybe not take care of people like we do now, like illegal immigrants to be specific, but during a recession or some kind of, like the hurricane, Maui being set on fire. Absolutely, that's the government's position to step in. That's when we need you. That's the only time we want to see you. How about that? We don't want to see you any other time unless you're here to help. Like, for real. And who was it that said that? I think it was Nixon that said, there's trouble or something when the government shows up claiming that they're there to help you. Because it's a lie. Because the government's never here to help you. They're your enemy. In 1932, however, with the country mirrored in the depths of the Great Depression and some 15 million people unemployed, Democrat Franklin D. Roosevelt won an overwhelming victory in the presidential election. By Inauguration Day, March 4th of 33, every U.S. state had ordered all remaining banks to close at the end of the fourth of the banking panics. And the U.S. Treasury didn't have enough cash to pay all government workers. Nonetheless, FDR projected a calm energy and optimism, famously declaring the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. No, we have to fear to death. We're in the middle of the Depression. Let's be real about this. People were without work. Okay? Fear is the only thing. Fear is not the only thing that we have to fear. Starvation. We have to fear. Like, unless you've been hungry, it's hard to describe. It's literally the worst feeling in the world to be hungry and not have any food or money to get food. I just find it humorous that this president, who gets his 3 hot in a cot every day, White House, says the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. No, starvation, okay, cold weather, a heat stroke. We have lots to fear in these streets. Roosevelt took immediate action to address the country's economic woes, first announcing a 4-day bank holiday during which all banks would close so that Congress could pass reform legislation and reopen those banks determined to be sound. He also began addressing the public directly over the radio in a series of talks, these so-called fireside chats. You sitting there by a fireplace telling people that fear is the only thing they have to fear when they out in the streets cold and hungry standing in line for porridge. Fireside talks as people are starving. During Roosevelt's first 100 days in office, his administration passed legislation that aimed to stabilize industrial and agricultural production, creating jobs and stimulating recovery. In addition, Roosevelt sought to reform the financial system, creating a Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, to protect depositors' accounts, and the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC. This was to regulate the stock market and prevent abuses of the kind that led to the 1929 crash. So it looks like among the programs and institutions of the New Deal that aided in the recovery from the Great Depression was the Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA, which built dams, hydroelectric projects to control flooding and provide electrical power to the impoverished Tennessee Valley region, and the Works Progress Administration, WPA, a permanent jobs program that employed 8.5 million people from 1935 to 1943. When the Great Depression began, the United States was the only industrialized country in the world without some form of unemployment insurance or Social Security. In 1935, Congress passed the Social Security Act, which for the first time provided Americans with unemployment, disability, and pensions for old age. After showing early signs of recovery in the beginning spring of 1933, the economy continued to improve throughout the next 3 years, during which the GDP, adjusted for inflation, grew at an average 9% per year. A sharp recession hit in 1937, caused in part by the Federal Reserve's decision to increase its requirements for money in reserve. Though the economy began improving again in 1938, this second severe contraction reversed many of the gains in production, employment, and prolonged the effects of the Great Depression through the end of the decade. Depression-era hardship fueled this rise of extremist political movements in various European countries, most notably that of Adolf Hitler's you-know-what regime in Germany. German aggression-led war to break out in Europe in 1939. WPA turned its attention to strengthening the military infrastructure of the United States, even as the country maintained its neutrality. Its neutralness. It was neutral. One-fifth of all Americans receiving federal during the Great Depression were black, most in rural South. Farm and domestic work, two major sectors in which black workers were employed, were not included in the 1935 Social Security Act, meaning there was no safety net in terms of uncertainty. Rather than fire domestic help, private employers could simply pay them less without legal repercussions. And those relief programs for which African Americans were eligible on paper were rife with discrimination in practice, since all relief programs were administered locally. How fucked up. Oh, y'all only wanted to help Americans when it became beneficial for you, huh? It's crazy. Despite these obstacles, Roosevelt's black cabinet, led by Mary Leonard Bethune, ensured nearly every New Deal agency had a black advisor. The number of African Americans working in government tripled. Wow. Who was that under? Roosevelt. Wow. And that was the 1930s, y'all. That was before the voting rights and all kinds of stuff. They didn't even, African American people didn't even get votes till 1954, if I'm not mistaken. Like, we were still segregated at this point, correct? Let's look. Were African Americans and whites separated during the Great Depression? Son of a biscuit. Were African Americans and whites separated during the Great Depression? Yes. They were strictly separate. How sad. But Roosevelt wasn't going for that shit. He said absolutely not. And actually this woman, Mary Lord have mercy, Mary Bethune, she made sure that all of these New Deal agencies had black advisors so that black and American people were not discriminated against when trying to get help. I gotta cut this off in a minute. Let me put it on my feet for a second because my feet are freezing. So there was a group of Americans who actually gained jobs during the Great Depression. Women. From 1930 to 1940, the employed women in the United States rose 24%. Wow. From 10 million to 13 million. That's, oh, okay, I see. Though they'd be steadily entering the works for decades, the financial pressure of the Great Depression drove women to seek employment in even greater numbers as male breadwinners lost their jobs. This shit been going on for decades, y'all. They be acting like something's new. The 22% decline in marriage rates between 1920. These people out here getting divorces because the woman is the breadwinner now. He said, oh, hell no, Beth Ann. Mary Lou, you staying home, Mary Lou. The 22% decline in marriage rates between 1929 and 1939 also created an increase in single women in search of employment. Oh, God. Lord have mercy. Women during the Great Depression had a strong advocate, the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, who lobbied her husband for more women in office, like Secretary of Labor. Frances Perkins, the first woman to ever hold a cabinet position. Wow. Was he Republican? I can't remember. Anyways, he was kicking ass and taking names. He's hiring black people. He's hiring women. His wife is over here lobbying for women to have more rights and their own jobs. Jobs available to women paid less, but were more stable during the banking crisis. Nursing, teaching, domestic work, they were all supplemented by an increase in secretarial roles. Jesus Christ, I'm so proud of my secretarial. I didn't even know I knew that. So they expanded. They were administration's wage code set lower wages for women, and jobs created. The WPA confined women to fields like sewing and nursing that paid less than reserve roles for men. Oh, God, this is so stupid. Married women faced an additional hurdle. By 1940, 26 states had placed restrictions known as marriage bars on their employment. Working wives were perceived as taking away jobs from able-bodied men, even if in practice they were occupying jobs men would not want and doing them for far less pay. Listen. What? When Roosevelt's decision to support Britain and France in the struggle against Germany and the other Axis powers, defense manufacturing geared up and more private sector jobs. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor the day before my birthday, December 7th, 1941. I'll never forget. And it led to the Americans' entry into the World War II. The nation's factories went back into full production mode. This expanding industrial production, as well as widespread conscription beginning in 1942, Jesus, reduced the unemployment rate below its pre-depression level. The Great Depression had ended at last, and the United States turned its attention to a global conflict of World War II. Ugh. It's expensive and profitable. If it's expensive, that makes it profitable. This shit wild. See, be grateful, girl. You could be stuck sewing in a bed right now. You could be stuck mopping floors and taking care of somebody else's kids. Look how far we've come. We got a choice. We got a choice, damn, what we want to do for work. Why did I think the Great Depression was in 1909, y'all? It was close. 1929. 1929. The more you know. Insert right here. Y'all, what is going on in South Carolina with that cop? So the whole police department quits, and then the mayor offs himself. I mean, he literally run into a Mack truck. What is going on down there? And then they admit that there was a pending investigation. Listen, all I'm going to say is when there's no coincidence. There's no coincidences. Something is going on at the MCCOLL Police Department in South Carolina. Something is going on. Now, we have the Law Enforcement Division that stated that they had been investigating something down there. They won't say what, but the mayor was under investigation through the Law Enforcement Division, whatever the hell that is. I don't know what that is. So, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The police chief said that he was resigning with his 4 officers because he restricted to running his sheriff's department the way that he wanted to. He said that there was too much political BS involved and that he was not allowed to perform his duties the way that he wanted to because of a councilman. And then they all quit. 4 sheriff's deputies and the chief of police. 2 days later, the mayor of this town that now has cops and sheriffs, I mean, everybody quit. It's a small town. It's only 2,000 people in this town, approximately. The mayor is in a high-speed chase with law enforcement, and he drives into oncoming traffic right into a Mack truck. Listen, honey, there ain't no coincidences. The fact that both of these incidents happened days apart and both are so shocking in themselves. I mean, when's the last time you heard of an entire police station quitting, regardless of how many people, and a police sheriff, the chief of police, resigning? That's weird in itself. That's a whole news headline in itself. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I have no idea. So weird. And then the mayor offs himself. And they say that they say he was not wanted for a crime at the time. They just wanted to make sure that he was okay. Who believes that shit? If you believe that, you are the most gullible person on earth. That's just their story, honey. They were absolutely trying to apprehend him for something. Now, whether or not they were going to pull him over and search his car or pull him over and just have a talking to, we'll never know. I'm here to tell you that law enforcement doesn't go on a high-speed chase anybody that they're just trying to check on. Cut me a break. The guy was probably terrified out of his damn mind. When he saw that they were trying to pull him over, he probably thought that he was getting arrested, and he probably was, but they'll never admit to that. They've already admitted that he was under investigation through the Law Enforcement Division of South Carolina anyways. I love how they throw us like a bone, but they don't tell us the truth. The whole story is sketchy as hell. They claim that he was not in any trouble, but he was still eluding the police, and he accidentally drove into oncoming traffic. Listen, nope. I don't believe none of it. If it don't make sense, it's probably a lie. And that whole story don't make sense. So you gonna tell he was under investigation? Y'all were criminally investigating him for some kind of criminal act. His wife says, you know, he's not doing well. Y'all claim y'all gonna go check on him, and the man drives into oncoming traffic. What was he up to? What did he think he was going to jail for to be bad enough for him to drive into a Mack truck? I mean, you got to really be fearing. You got to be fearing somebody. Something like jail. Like jail. To drive into oncoming traffic and run into a damn 18-wheeler. He killed himself right in front of, just drove right into it. No hesitation. It's horrible. Horrible. Well, I'm about to go. We'll talk tomorrow. The sun's going down. I had to figure out what I'm going to do about gas. I'm out. And I'm stressed. Super stressed. I hate being back here. Being back here is a trigger for me. This whole place is a shithole. You know, it's a shithole. It's a small town shithole with shitty ass cops that are fake as fuck. That fuck with people that are better than them because they're not as evil as they are. And when you know the truth about these fuckers, that makes them hate you. When you know the truth about the evil that they commit every single day. They're evil. All of them. Even the ones that act nice, they're evil. And they will always be because they're complicit in evil. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. I don't believe that there's good cops. I believe that they're all evil. And I will believe that for the rest of my life. Sometimes I forget, though, because I have a good heart and I want to see the best in people. But the reality is if they work for the police department, they're all the same. They're all evil. This guy is being out here being a creep. I don't know what he's doing, but standing right here looking at me for 20 minutes. Like, what the fuck? You see what I'm saying? Is he going to rob me? Is he going to kill me? Why is he standing there looking at me? Is he going to fucking... Y'all call me crazy, but these motherfuckers be standing right in front of my car staring at me for an hour. He's been out there for 35 fucking minutes. Let me go in here and use the bathroom before I have to murder somebody today. Because y'all know I will. Quick. I mean, you literally just stand there being a fucking creep. I just got mean mugged by Shaniqua. What's new? I mean, honestly, if I was looking like a damn NFL linebacker, I'd be mad too. So. She does. She looks like a linebacker. Ah! No, so. This place is nasty as fuck. It always is. If I look like a fucking linebacker, I'd be mad at the world too, girl. Oh, he's out here drinking. What is wrong with people? He's trying to start shit. He done seen my YouTube and thinks I'm fucking a joke. Whew. What a dumbass. I mean, imagine fucking standing outside of a McDonald's being drunk on a fucking Saturday. Just no care in the world. Must be nice. Must be nice to be able to be a loser. I wouldn't know. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. Standing over my car and being confrontational. Absolutely. He's trying to start shit. He's standing there drinking a beer. He's been staring at me for a fucking hour while I reported the news. Absolutely. If I hop the curb and run you over, sir, it's your own fucking fault for being a weirdo. Absolutely. See, that's the problem with y'all out here. Y'all think it's normal to be perverts. It's not. It's not normal to stand in a fucking McDonald's parking lot at 5 o'clock in the afternoon drinking a fucking beer. That's not in the slightest. It will never be normal. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't give a fuck who it is. You don't stare at people. You leave people alone. You don't hover over their cars being a menace to society when you're drunk. You need to be on a watch list in prison. Absolutely. What is wrong with y'all out here? I've never in my life, ever. I would never do that to somebody. Especially some girl that I've seen on the internet that I know that was, you know, an abuse victim her entire life. Like, what is wrong? Like, that's evil. It's sad that I even have to say this. He knows exactly who I am. That's why he's standing there staring at me. Don't be naive. God, some of y'all are so fucking dumb. Legitimately, like dumb. It's sad. And not only is he standing right next to my fucking arm's length, he could have reached out and touched my car. He stood out there for over an hour. But he was out there before the sun went down. Kept walking past my car. Being fucking creepy. I ought to roll up on the police right here and be like, hey, there's a drunk down there fucking stalking women. If I was anything like his ass, I would, but I'm not. I ought to, though, because he's a danger to society. He's already fucking drunk at 5 o'clock in the afternoon stalking me. Dude, you need to be in jail. Behind bars. Purple alert! Purple alert! I guess people just ain't got no fucking home training, right? That's what's wrong with the world. Well, thank God I was raised with respect and morals and values, right? Thank God. Because motherfuckers act like that and they ain't never been through shit. Imagine what somebody like me who's been through everything could do. Fucking weirdo. Ugh, makes my skin crawl. Some of y'all are so fucking nasty. Y'all don't even look like you fucking wash your ass and shit. Be stalking girls, wondering why you're alone. Sir, maybe stop drinking at fucking 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Jesus. And I'm telling you right now, anybody that's fucking walking around town drinking beer is up to no fucking good. He's probably looking for somebody to fucking kidnap and murder, honestly. That's what he looks like, creeping around, standing over my car for a fucking hour. Creep. Y'all are brave out here on these bicycles on these backcountry roads. I saw an article where a woman killed somebody over Thanksgiving. Killed 2 people. Ran them straight over and didn't even stop. And then I saw her mug shot and I said, yep, she looks like the type. Ain't it crazy how the suspects just... You can tell they was the suspects. Like that officer, the FBI agent, as soon as I saw him, I said, honey, I could have told you by just gandering at him that he was a pervert. Some people just got that look. It's eyes. It's in the way that they carry themselves, especially men. They got them R-word eyes, man. They got them R-word eyes. They look soulless. That FBI agent looks like the type. I don't care what you say. This is why I do this. This is how I stay safe, okay? I can see a pervert from a mile away. I know how to sniff them figures out. That's what happens when you work in a strip club for almost 20 years. You learn to read people. Also, growing up in an abusive home, you learn how to read people quickly. Quickly. They can make two statements, and you're like, oh, yep, I know exactly who you are. But ironically, those two statements will be about sex and cocaine. So it's not hard to put two and two together. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? People tell you what they want. You just got to listen. See, that's the problem, though. Most of you fuckers just ignore it. You're like, oh, he's just joking. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't, Kelly. No, he wasn't. He's a married cokehead. No, he wasn't. That was real talk. But you just going to ignore that red flag, right? Just drive by that bitch. And just like this dude standing outside my car looking at me film for an hour, at least, because the sun was still up when he started. Not only was he in car, like literally he could have reached out and touched my car the whole time I'm filming. Okay, so he's at the passenger door essentially. Not only that, he's standing there drinking a beer. And then when I come out of the McDonald's, he comes walking up the sidewalk, not minding his business, minding my business. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And some of y'all be like, oh, it's just some drunk, some homeless drunk. No, bitch. It's not just some homeless drunk. It's some homeless pervert that's fucking creeping on you. See, that's the problem with y'all. Y'all literally ignore evidence. Just ignore it. Just overlook it. We just gonna act like he don't exist when he's actually trying to be confrontational, which is why he's been trying to, that's why he was standing outside my car for an hour. Listen, I'm not naive, baby. I know people better than they know themselves. He was probably trying to get me to film him. You know, everybody wants to be on my channel now. So I have people that come out of the woodworks trying to start shit so they'll film them. Ain't that sad? Imagine being such a... Because you're just so boring. You got to start something. Anything's better than nothing, right? Once again, these interactions, any attention is better than no attention. It's like dealing with children. I've learned a lot. Keep learning. But it's a behavioral pattern that I've picked up on. People will interject themselves into my life, hope, and start drama with me just to be on camera because they've seen bad. I'm just glad that I didn't grow up behaving that way. All of these crazy people out here and sick, y'all. When I woke up this morning, my tonsils was hurting, my nose was stuffed up, my nose has been running all day, I've got a migraine from hell, and I've got a dry cough. It happens at night. It gets worse at night. Y'all can be naive and think that he was just some harmless man. Bullshit. Every time I got out of the car, he kept stepping closer to me. See, this is why I need body cam. This is why I need cameras on my car. Because y'all only see things one-sided. All the time. Even when I got it on camera, multiple times, y'all still be saying, oh, it's just some old man fishing. And I'm like, God damn, y'all dumb as shit, ain't you? You got to be. You got to be. You got to be the most gullible dumbass on earth. And I'm glad that you're not a female. You'd be the first one that was dead. Some people are just so gullible. Like the man at the beach that crept up on me trying to look in my windows 2 days in a fucking row. And it wasn't 2 days in a row. care if it was a fucking year apart. To creep up on me like that and try to look through my truck windows. And there's still some of y'all that are perverted just, let's call it lustful derangement. LDS, ironically. LDS, ironically. LDS, lustful derangement syndrome. There's mass quantities my phone's not gonna work, y'all. I'm staying at a park tonight and my phone's not gonna work. Once I get in the holler, it won't work. I'm stressed out. I don't know why my phone does technically the city. So I don't know why my phone does technically the city. So I don't know why it's doing this. Ass. But it's been that way for the